So I watched Ready Player One and it was not good. I'm going to talk about all the things that were not good about it in full. So if you don't want to know too much about it, it's a cringy, poorly paced film about video games made by people who haven't played a modern video game, and I'm giving it 2 stars. Now let's talk about it in some more depth. It's set in the year 2045 and no one lives in houses now. They all live in caravans stacked on top of each other for some reason, and everyone just sits inside in the virtual world of OASIS or walks around the streets playing it at some points for whatever reason. Now I could continue to set up this world, but it would just be me talking at you for 15 minutes and explaining every single little bit of this world instead of showing it to you in an organic way, and that's exactly what this film does. You've got Ty Sheridan playing the most bland human on the planet and setting up the world by just talking at the audience and then never doing it again for the rest of the film. Anyway, what's important is there's some hidden keys the creator of this game, who seems like a bit of a loon, put in there to be found after he died, and if you find them you get control of the game and you also get money in the real world, which doesn't seem to matter because no one does anything in the real world. Like, it's implied that people have jobs at times, but I'm not sure what they actually do if everyone's just playing the game, and the main kid doesn't ever seem to eat. I don't think you see anyone eat in this film. I don't know how anyone gets food, or maybe you don't need food in the future. Either way, the kid and his friends are after the keys, and so are the bad guys, so they can put ads in the game, and that's the setup. There's way more exposition than that. Like I said, it's all crammed in at the start, which doesn't make sense because like the last hour feels like it goes on forever. I'm guessing they had to cut some stuff out, and they were like, oh well, we filmed all the cool action scenes for the finale, let's just cram the start of the film into like a 15-minute chunk so we can have an hour-long finale that never feels like it ends. It's safe to say the pacing is a bit off. The action scenes in the game world though they're alright. They're alright to look at. It's very special effects heavy in both the game world and the real world, which makes it feel not very tangible and like there's no stakes. People straight up get murdered in the real world and it's like no one ever cares. It doesn't seem like anyone cares about those characters, and they're very poorly set up. And also in the game world some people die, and it's like they try and make it some stakes, like, oh, if you die in the game world you lose your money. The game world is also kind of poorly set up in that people die, but it's not really like clear when you just die at any point in this game. Can someone just pull out a gun in the game and shoot you in the game because they felt like it, even though you're not in like a combat area? Because there's a point where they're in a nightclub and it seems, oh, I guess you can't use guns in the nightclub, and it's like, no, oh, these people are just straight up having a all-out war in the nightclub. There's also a romance subplot, of course, and it's very cringy. It's as cringy as anything I've seen in a while, and the whole driving force is essentially that this kid basically thinks this girl's avatar is hot, and I guess no one catfishes in 2045 because he's just fully into it and doesn't really ask any questions. Luckily one other character asks a question and says, hey, how do you know that's actually a girl? Otherwise it would have been completely ridiculous. And the whole game world is very strange. A whole lot of the film though is just these kids standing around talking as their avatars while doing nothing. Like, no one who made this has ever actually been in an Xbox Live party chat on Xbox 360 10 years ago, doesn't realize you can talk to your friends while playing a game together, or even different games. It's like that episode of South Park where they all stand next to each other to talk on World of Warcraft. Like, they don't realize you can talk while you're doing different things in the world. I guess it would have been hard to show cinematically, so they're hoping that most people won't question that. It's also extremely dated already. I can't even imagine what watching this will be like in 5 years, but at one point somebody calls someone else a noob in like a serious, unironic way, like it was actually meant to be offensive. That's actually a thing that people say anymore, seriously. Most of the style of this film though, I guess, was all the characters from pop culture that are all like coming together to do things, but it doesn't really lead to much. There's a movie that gets used quite well and it makes for a pretty good scene, and if you know that movie or even just know a little bit about the movie, it's a very good scene where the characters essentially get put into a film, and that was done well. Other than that, most of the characters you see or the songs are just cameos to make you go, oh, I know that character, I know that song, I've seen that film. And I guess they get a good like wide variety, so they've got characters from Overwatch and they've got characters from random films in the 80s, so there's a good balance in there, but it doesn't really lead to much. I don't think it's that essential, and I like to think that the film was at least trying to say something or have something to say about how we can't just live in the past or in our imaginations or inside other people's creations, and we need to, create things ourselves, and we shouldn't be idolizing these creators. But it's a film that's best moments only exist because they're ripped out of other pieces of media, and it's made by a creator who might be past his best. Maybe that's going a bit too far, and maybe I'm reading too much into this. Either way, Ready Player One was just a very disappointing, not very good, overly long film, and I wouldn't really recommend checking it out. I'm going to give it 2 stars. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more.